PNR Networks is a member of Patreon. Show your love for our shows by joining our ongoing fundraising campaign and get some fantastic perks in return. Check it out and become a Patreon sponsor. You can sign up at patreon.com, patreon.com/PNR Networks. And thanks for your support.
This podcast is a member of the Blueberry Network. Blueberry. No E's. That's Blueberry, BLUBRRY.com. Blueberry.com.
This podcast is a proud member of the Lamb Podcasting Network. Find the network at largeassmovieblogs.com.
It's Kim versus TC in the battle of the lists.
My list is better.
My list is better.
My list is better.
No, it's not. My list is better.
Kim or TC, who has the better list? From Subject Cinema, this is Front Row 5 and 10 with Kim Brown and TC Kirkham.
Hey guys, welcome to another week here on Front Row 5 and 10, brought to you by the people that bring you Subject Cinema. That would be me and him, the me part being Kim Brown.
What if I want to be the me part?
Well, then you should announce the show.
Oh. And I'm TC Kirkham. Welcome to Front Row 5 and 10, our wonderful entertainment list program, where we come up with lists of two top 5s or one top 10 every week and bring it to you for your entertainment. Yep. FYE. Oh, I can't say that. That's a Transworld property. I'll get in trouble. They'll want money or something. Your category this week.
Yes. My category this week was our top 10 lists of favorite robots, androids, artificial intelligence, computers that think on their own kind of stuff over all genres we could come up with.
Although all of mine are from TV and movies except
movies,
one.
book, TV, comics, whatever we could think of.
Yep.
And so that's what we do. Now, we do have to stress, not all of these characters are on our list, at least on my list, because we admire, respect.
These are the best characters, bad or good.
Yes.
That's what I'm doing here. So,
yes.
For what it's worth. We'd love to hear from you ideas for lists every week. And if you do send us an idea at front row at PNRNetworks.com and we use it, we're going to give you credit. We're going to give you a little prize and we're going to do... Maybe we'll sing you a song. I don't know. We'll figure out something. Front row at PNRNetworks.com. I have some honorable mentions. There was a lot here that I was like wondering which one I was going to do.
I actually have 2 honorable mentions. So
I actually came up with 7 honorable mentions, sort of, because some of them are groups. I had considered, but left off my top 10, BB-8 from the Star Wars saga, the M5 computer from Star Trek's Ultimate Computer episode, the Team Knight Rider AI units, which included Beast and Plato and Cat and a couple other ones. They were much better than Kit was. Jen from Mission Genesis, she is their artificial intelligence computer. Love that show. If you've never seen it, it's worth finding. Astro Boy, which I love the movie of. I was never familiar with the series. The TV cartoon version of Brainiac 5 from the Legion of Superheroes. He's an android there. He's not an android in the comic books. Wasn't, at least years ago. And also from the mind of Brainiac 5, his artificial intelligence Computo, which was a main villain a couple of times in Legion of Superheroes history, and it's my favorite DC book, so, So those are my runners-up, or my also runs. What about you?
All right. I actually only have 2 runners-up. My honorable mentions, I should say it that way. One of my honorable mentions is RoboCop from the RoboCop franchise of movies and TV shows and cartoons.
Does he count?
Why?
He's a cyborg.
Well,
but...
we said cyborgs,
okay,
androids,
I didn't really count
robots.
cyborgs, but that's okay.
And also Jarvis, the AI computer that is set up by Tony Stark in the Marvel movie universe, voiced by Paul Bettany.
Later to turn into the Vision.
Yes.
Yeah, same thing, which is also...
Well, I don't consider it the same thing, so anyway.
Okay, all right. Okay, top 10. These are going to be fun, simply because I want to see her face on a couple of these. Because I don't think we're going to match on all of these.
Oh,
we'll have a few similars,
I don't think we're going to match on all of them, but I think the same ones are going to show up in different places.
My number 10 is one of the most obscure of the references on my list.
Okay.
You'll know it, and fans of the original show will know it. I don't know if it's popped up on the new show yet. We haven't finished watching them. But I thought, I was thinking through things, and I'm like, oh, I forgot about him. My number 10 is Grovel from Danger Mouse. In fact, it appears in more than one episode, and
boy.
The bad guy has a robot named
Quark
has a robot named Grovel. I'm sorry, Master. Get up, Grovel. I'm sorry. It's freaking hilarious. And it is, I mean, that's just, I was like, I have to put him on my top 10. Because he doesn't really say much else. But, neither does, some of the other ones that I don't really care for and didn't put on my list. They go back, there's 2 episodes with Quark on the original show. I don't know if they did any new ones with the character. But they're worth finding. And the entire original collection is on Netflix. If you've never seen Danger Mouse, why the hell not? Number 10, Grovel. From the original classic Danger Mouse.
Oh, it's going to be one of those kind of lists. Okay. My number 10 is an example of what I was saying earlier on. The fact that these are not always characters that are admirable or good or anything like that. The reason this character makes it on number 10 on my list is because she's one of the first. And the way it was done for the time is completely mind-blowing. My number 10 is Robot Maria from Fritz Lang's silent classic Metropolis. The character of Maria, the robot, comes into the story very late when she is created by the antagonist as a robotic double of a woman named Maria, who is the... she's considered this helper and almost a patron saint-like character of the oppressed workers of this futuristic society. When you look at the way this was done, and you consider that this was done so far back, in film's history, it just blows your mind. And the fact that there was actually, the actress that plays Maria is actually in the suit, which was very painful.
Yeah.
It's you can definitely see where other people got their ideas for what a humanoid robot should look like. Not just this kind of boxy, clunky looking thing, but something that has actual lines and grace to it. So that's why her character is number 10 on my list.
I just realized I forgot one really big one, but oh well. Number 9 is perhaps the best known android in the galaxy because he's gallivanting around the Starship Enterprise with Enterprise D with Captain Jean-Luc Picard and his crew. My number 9, Commander Data, played by Brent Spiner. Well, he was until Nemesis. Then things happen. And he's not going to get better from that either. The character of Data was one of the central parts of Gene Roddenberry's revival of the show. Data was an artificial intelligence who was trying to be human. Why you would ever aspire to that, I don't know. That just doesn't make any sense to me. Brent Spiner did a wonderful job playing this character, playing the innocence, being able to portray the Data discovering stuff. They later had Data make his own daughter, Lal, in one episode. And there's also the Data with the emotion chip, which is always just scary to watch, and his evil twin, Lore. But Data stands out above and beyond of all the science fiction of the modern era, I think. as the best known of the TV characters, and certainly somebody that at least one person in every household has probably heard of.
Yes.
My number 9, Commander Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Okay. Number 9 on my list is actually the newest character. Out of all of the characters that appear on my list, he is the newest one to come along into the consciousness of the movie-going public. But he is fitting into a universe that is very well established, and I think he fits in just great. My number 9 is BB-8 from the Star Wars universe. We're introduced to BB-8 in Star Wars The Force Awakens as the loyal droid and friend, I would say friend,
yes,
of Poe Dameron, who is part of the Resistance, and the Republic, or the Resistance, however you want to word it, who are fighting against the evil, oppressive First Order. And he winds up becoming acquainted with a young scavenger named Rey, and gets dragged into her crazy adventures along with a former stormtrooper who takes the name of Finn. The thing that I like about BB-8, besides the fact that A, he is adorable. I mean, he is the very first robot I can ever say that actually made me coo in a movie theater. I was just,
it did, too.
I was just like, oh my gosh, he's so cute, I want one. He's very smart, and he's very, very much aware of the fact that he's cute.
Yes.
You know, he's definitely aware of the fact that people think that he's harmless and adorable. Finn finds out he's not so harmless since he does shock him a couple of times. I think that he's an adorable character. I also definitely feel like he cares about people that are close to him. When he realizes Poe is alive, he's really excited. He runs to meet him, or rolls to meet him, because he is his little rolling ball.
He doesn't have feet, yeah.
Well, and it's very sweet. I thought it was very sweet.
It was, but he doesn't run. He just rolls.
Yeah.
He doesn't have feet.
My number 9 favorite robot character, BB-8.
Ironic, because my number 8 goes back to the other Star Wars saga. My number 8 is R2-D2. R2 is like perhaps the most iconic robot in the films over the years, along with C-3PO, who I did not put on the top 10 because 3PO annoys the hell out of me. I like him, but he annoys the hell out of me. There's something. The thing that this is actually becoming, and it's going to be even more pronounced when we get to The Last Jedi, the next movie in the series. The difference is...
Man, that title makes me so damn nervous.
The difference between R2-D2 and BB-8 is a chasm. BB-8 is plays as cute. R2, just smug and trickery and obnoxious at times, but still loyal to Luke and to Anakin before him. Although, is that the same unit? It is the same unit.
Yes, R2 and 3PO...
How do these two get in every single freaking movie? Honestly, maybe the stuff in the cartoon did happen. R2 is ingratiating because he's just so likable, stubborn, not willing to compromise, and definitely devoted to the princess and her cause. He is perhaps the ultimate sidekick of AI proportion. So number 8, R2-D2 from the Star Wars universe.
Okay. My number 8 is going to probably... it might surprise people that he's on my list and so high on my list, but there's one specific scene that is the reason that he's so high. And
8 is not particularly high, but that's okay.
Well, considering the fact that this character only appears in one film,
okay,
my number 8 is the Terminator T-800 Model 101. Which model is he? Model 101, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger in Terminator 2: Judgment Day. Terminator 2: Judgment Day is one of the best sequels in the science fiction genre, I think. Certainly the best one in the Terminator franchise, because they keep making more. But
keep screwing them up.
And spoiler alert for this, sorry. The whole point of it is that a Terminator has been sent back to kill, and this time it's supposed to kill Sarah Connor's son John, who is now a teenager, played by Edward Furlong. The Resistance that is fighting against the evil Skynet sends back a reprogrammed Terminator from the T-800. The Terminator that's sent back in this movie is a T-1000, which is, a better computer, better Terminator, played by Robert Patrick through most of the movie. At the end of the film, the T-1000 unit is destroyed, but the T-800 realizes that it has to sacrifice itself because all remnants of Skynet have to be destroyed in the past so it won't be built in the future. This is why time travel gives me a headache.
I didn't come into the Terminator films until Terminator Salvation. I've never seen any of the earlier ones, and I wouldn't have seen that if it wasn't for the presence of Anton Yelchin and Christian Bale. So
okay, anyway. John at this point is pleading with the Terminator not to self-terminate, and he's crying. And earlier on in the movie, he had some tears on his face, and the Terminator had asked him, what's wrong with your eyes? And John had to explain the whole human concept of crying. Mm-hmm. Now, at this point in the film, it's about to kill itself. John's crying because he considers the Terminator a friend by this point. The Terminator robot looks at him and says, I know now why you cry, and wipes the tear away from John's face and says, but it's something that I can never do. And then it lowers itself into a molten lava thing in a foundry kind of a place and dies. Mm. And I bawled my eyes out. I just thought that was so beautiful and so sad. And just, it was it touched my heart. It really did. And I know people give Arnold Schwarzenegger a lot of crap about his acting abilities and stuff like that. But the way that he enunciated those lines, it really resonated with me. Mm-hmm. There was a real beauty and sadness in it. Because this is a machine. And it understands now what it means to be human, even though it can't aspire to that level of emotional connection. I just thought that was really, really something special. Mm-hmm. So my number 8 is the Terminator T-800 Model 101 from Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Okay.
Yes, I know. I'm a sappy marshmallow. I know.
I didn't say that.
You were thinking it.
Yeah. Number 7 on my list is actually my first bad guy computer.
Okay.
In fact, I think it's the only bad guy. Well, no, not the only one, because the other one's kind of bad guy too. But this one, and this one doesn't start off to be. It starts off to be quite the achievement of mortal man who have decided to conquer everything going on in the world by putting everything in charge of a supercomputer. Now, when does this look like a good idea?
Never. Never a good idea.
My number 7 is Colossus and his Soviet counterpart Guardian, which ends up merging into one unit in the film The Colossus, the Forbin Project from 1970, I believe. I'm really sorry about my cough tonight. Colossus, created by a scientist played by Eric Braeden in his first major American role, mm-hmm. Is designed to control the nuclear arsenal of America and keep it in safe hands. It's self-powered and does not ever need to be opened again. They close this big underground bunker, and then the first thing they get almost when they turn them on is messages, there is another machine. Colossus has found its Soviet counterpart, Guardian, started talking to it. When they try to cut communications off, Colossus and Guardian don't like it, and pretty soon they're in charge of everything in the world. It's a scary film. It's a fun film. The remake and the sequel have never happened. They were going to do a remake. Ron Howard was attached to it, and then they were going to do a sequel. Never happened. But the original film is excellent and stars, like I said, Eric Braeden, Marion Ross, Susan Clark, and a number of other really good people. And it's worth taking a look at. It's based on the book, I believe, of the same name. Number 7, Colossus and Guardian from Colossus, the Forbin Project.
That's actually a really good movie. You showed that to me, and it's really interesting, and it's actually quite terrifying. It's really something special. If you've never seen it, definitely check it out. Number 7 on my list, I will admit, is a nostalgia thing for me, because I watched this show a lot. I mean, I tried to catch it most weeks. My number 7 is KIT, or the Night Industries 2000, from the NBC series Knight Rider. KIT, voiced by William Daniels, was a computer that was in a car, a Trans Am to be accurate. And this Trans Am could do pretty much everything short of Speed Racer's Mach 5. Pretty much the only thing the Mach 5 couldn't do was talk. And KIT's one up on that.
Yeah.
KIT was... The thing that I really liked about KIT was the fact that he was, and you had to refer to him as he because he had his own personality. He was definitely an individual, a very sarcastic individual, which is what I liked about him.
It's still the best known role, I think, of William Daniels' career, even though he was on St. Elsewhere for 8 seasons and Boy Meets World and now Girl Meets World for over the last 20 years or so.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing I liked about KIT was the fact that he was sarcastic, that he was very often would tell the hero of the show, Michael Knight, played by David Hasselhoff, he would have absolutely no problem with telling Michael that, that's a stupid idea. I mean, he would do it in a much nicer way, much more educated sounding way. I'll put it in maybe not nicer, but a more educated sounding way. But he would be the first to tell Michael, this isn't going to work. Yeah. And he would also be the first to tell Michael when something went wrong, told you so. And I liked that about the character. He appealed to me because he was just...
You.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Bit of self-reflection there. So my number 7 is KIT from Knight Rider.
KIT didn't make my list. I always liked the character, but...
It's a talking Trans Am, come on.
I liked the AI guys from Team Knight Rider better. And KIT was there, too. Although you didn't find out to the finale, and it was kind of like left in the air because they only had 1 season. My number 6 you've already mentioned, and it's the first one we repeated on, and it definitely deserves its place in history, and that is Maschinenmensch Maria from Fritz Lang's Metropolis. Amazing stuff done there.
Nice German on that, by the way.
Well, I had to look it up earlier. I think it's either Maschinenmensch or Menschenmaschine, Machina, or however it's pronounced. But Maria is a very interesting character, and you only see her in a robotic form in a few scenes. Most of the time, she's taking the form of the girl Maria.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different. But I mean, for 1926, I think, when Metropolis was made, what a fantastic film and what great special effects and what an impact the character has. Maria is an iconic image and always will be. Number 6, Maria from Metropolis.
Okay. My number 6 is a character that you've mentioned. He hasn't been on your list so far, but... You mentioned him as being the same as another character, and I don't agree.
Okay.
My number 6 is Vision from the Marvel movie universe. Played by Paul Bettany. Vision came about, originally was supposed to be...
He's not the same, but
no,
he's a derivative. He's a descendant.
Yeah, that would be an accurate way to put it. Vision is introduced to the universe of Marvel movie fans in Avengers Age of Ultron, when he is created by the evil robot Ultron. But he winds up becoming, when he's actually, born, activated, I don't know how to put it, he's his own being. And he winds up being a force for good. And he's on my list for several reasons. For one reason, in Captain America Civil War, I thought it was nice that they kind of hinted at something that did go on in the comics earlier on, i.e. Vision's romance and eventual marriage with Scarlet Witch.
Which there's no point in doing when brother is not around.
Well, you keep saying that. But obviously they're going somewhere with it, or they were in Civil War, because you can tell Vision obviously cares a great deal for Wanda. And I was all excited and happy about that because I totally
shipping all
ship
over the
it!
place. You can't ship something that's already been written 40 years ago.
I totally ship it. I don't care.
You can't.
I just think that Vision is definitely... He's an individual that's trying to find his place in the world, but he knows that he was created to be a force of destruction, but he's like, I don't want to be that. That's not who I am. And I'm like, wow, that's really cool. And the fact that it's Paul Bettany, come on, seriously. And also the fact that he's able to hold Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, which cannot be wielded by anybody who's not worthy.
And actually picks it up with great ease.
One arm, one-handed. I'm sorry. I was like, okay, he wins. That's it. You're king of the world. You win. So my number 6 is Vision.
Yeah, Vision's good. He's not on my top 10. I enjoyed the character, though. I tried to stay away from a lot of androids. For some reason, I was going more for other types of intelligences. Because I think, just me, personally... Like number 5, which isn't a single robot, but a group of them, because you can't have one without the other, and it just doesn't work with any of them separately. You have to have them, because if you don't have them, you don't have the right combination of mirth and satire and goofiness. It just doesn't work. My number 5... are the lovable robots of the Satellite of Love. Tom Servo, Crow, Cambot, and Gypsy from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Now, there will be brand new robots coming in the brand new show coming from Netflix later this year. But the originals will probably still make an appearance. And it's going to be fun. There's just something about these robots. And I'll be honest, I prefer different versions. Jim Mallon voices Gypsy, and Jim is always funny, specifically when he's doing anything to do with Richard Basehart. That's a lot of fun. Tom Servo, voiced for all but the first season by Kevin Murphy, is, bar none, the most sarcastic robot possibly ever created. And he is so funny because he gets so frustrated and he can't do anything because his arms don't work. It's fun watching them try to do the puppet because it's like, okay, that doesn't work. Crow, on the other hand, voiced originally by Trace Beaulieu and later by Bill Corbett, is really fantastic in his ultimate schemes to do crazy things on board the Satellite of Love, whether he's working with Mike Nelson or Joel Hodgson, doesn't really matter. And Cambot doesn't really say much; he just takes a picture of the guys on that goes down to the Mads, whoever is the Mads in particular episodes. I was not a big fan of this show when Kim started getting hooked on it, and it was the bots that got me hooked. I love Kevin Murphy. Never fails to completely convulse me as Tom Servo, and I'm like, okay, there's something magical here. These 4 robots don't work separately. If you tried, you could, if you had like a variety show, and unlike the Muppets where you could have Kermit separately, if you tried to have Tom Servo or Crow as a separate guest, it wouldn't work. There's a chemistry between these 4 and later on the Mads and of course Joel or Mike, and it makes it work. And makes it why they are the funnest robots in the galaxy. Number 5, Tom Servo, Crow, Cambot, and Gypsy from Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay. That's really cool. My number 5 is actually somebody that you've already mentioned. And that would be Lieutenant Commander Data from Star Trek The Next Generation. I have to be honest, Season 1 of Star Trek The Next Generation, I wasn't entirely sure we were going to get a Season 2. So
it got better and better as the season went on. The early part of the season was horrible. Yeah.
It took me a little bit to warm up to the characters. Especially Data, for some reason. I don't know why, but once I did...
Especially Data? Even more than Wesley Crusher?
No, I never warmed up to Wesley Crusher.
Just wanted to clarify
There's
that.
a difference there. Because I was a member of the Let's Boot Wesley Out of an Airlock in His Underpants Club. Not Will Wheaton.
That'll hurt, Anyway.
Not Will Wheaton. I'm sure Will Wheaton's a lovely person. But Data, eventually he got into my heart and got into my system, and I was like, this character's really cool. And as they continued to grow as a series, and the characters meshed together, and we got individual stories about them. I thought Data was just, I was like, I would totally hang out with him. Because he would just be so much fun to hang out with and introduce new stuff to. Because he's learning so much and he wants to learn so much. And like you said, when you said earlier, why would anybody want to be human? Because human beings, I mean, we're flawed. We're totally flawed. But we're also the race that came up with Michelangelo's David. And
right, but I mean, why isn't he inspired to be some other foreign, like...
because he comes from humans. He was made by humans.
Okay.
We're the race that painted Starry Night. We're the race we're the species that invented M&Ms. So, I mean, we do a lot of...
Somehow I don't think Data would care about M&Ms.
Well, no, maybe not, but Troy would. But for all the horrible stuff we do, we also do good things and beautiful things. And I like that Data looks at the idea of being human as something to aspire to, when in a lot of ways, he's so much better than we are. And anyway, anybody who loves a cat named Spot can't be all bad, right?
Yes, a totally white cat named Spot.
No, she wasn't white.
Wasn't she?
She was a ginger, marmalade-y, stripy kind of cat.
Oh, I thought she was white.
No.
Okay, sorry.
She looked more like Morris, like
okay,
a thin version.
It's been a while since I've watched them.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And
short-term memory's the first to go. Anyway.
And Brent Spiner was just magical in the role. So my number 5, Lieutenant Commander Data.
Okay, that's good.
And then just there's one other reason he's on the list.
Yeah.
He can tap dance and I can't. So that makes him better than me anyway.
Okay. My number 4, I really had to think about all these at the top, and I'm like, I don't know. I was pulling them out. But the truth be told, I have been in love with this character since the very first teaser trailer from the film he was in. And when we saw the film, I became an even bigger fan. I can't wait for the sequel on the big screen, and I know the series, I think the series is on already. I haven't watched it, but I adore Baymax from Big Hero 6. Mm-hmm. Baymax is this giant walking balloon, and I hate balloons, but I like Baymax because he's just freaking funny. Oh my God. He is an artificial life form that is designed to be a health, not a doctor, a health aide?
Yeah, healthcare provider.
Healthcare provider. But it's like a nurse type thing that you can blow up in your home and have them check you out. And this particular robot comes to life after the death of the brother of the main character on the show, Hero. And it's his invention. It's Takahashi's an invention, and he'd seen it before, but he didn't know it was at home and came to life. And suddenly they find themselves partners in trying to find out what really happened when it came to the explosion that killed his brother. Baymax is
Takahashi was the brother. Hero's the young.
Yeah, that's what I said. It killed Takahashi.
Right. I'm sorry.
Right. That. I forgot what I was going to say now.
Sorry.
Thank you. The chemistry between the character of Hero and Baymax is brilliant, and he's funny and naive, and yet he's also all-knowing, all-seeing, and just 100% lovable, especially when he's kind of deflating when they're standing in the police station. My number 4, are you satisfied with your care? Baymax from Big Hero 6.
Okay. Number 4 for me, I know is not on your list. I just know that. That's a given. I don't care. And I know I don't fit.
Well, fine.
Well, I don't fit the demographic for the shows and movies that this character is involved with. Again, I don't care. He's always been a favorite of mine. My number 4 is Optimus Prime from the Transformers series.
Again, I wasn't sure about the Transformers. I did look at them. But ultimately I did decide not to, although I did come close to putting Bumblebee on the list. But it was...
I almost put Bumblebee on there because he's so cute.
He's
the movie Bumblebee.
Version, yeah.
He's just so cute. Optimus Prime is on my list the heroic leader of the Autobots. He's always been a tower of strength and compassion, and I've always really liked that about the character. Most of the time voiced by Peter Cullen, who is, has an amazing voice. And
still doing the voice 30 years later.
Yeah. The thing I really like, one area that I really like the performance and the work done that they did on the character. I mean, he's been featured in, a lot of the cartoons, the movies, everywhere like that. The one place I really liked what they did with the artwork and also with the character was on the show Transformers Prime. I really liked the way he interacted with Jack and Miko, Jack, Miko, and the other little boy. I've completely blanked on his name. That were part of the show, and they knew about the Autobots' existence before the rest of the world did. And I liked the fact that he was, he would talk to them like they were adults. He would treat them like adults, not like little Rafe. That was the other kid's name, the little boy. He was kind to them, and he wasn't like abrupt or anything like that. But he didn't sugarcoat things with them, and he valued their opinions and treated them with respect, which is ironic since a lot of flesh and blood adults don't treat children with respect. They just, pat them on their head and think they're just dumb kids. I liked the fact that Optimus had that sort of father figure attitude with them, and I felt like he's always been kind of a father figure to other Autobots as well. Mm-hmm. Besides being their leader, they know they can come to him if they're just need someone to talk to. And I like that. So my number 4, Optimus Prime.
Yay! Number 3 on my list is one of those interesting choices because it is a very big part of the film where it debuted, and it is very interesting in the fact that although it is an integral part of everything in the storylines that go on, the character never appears on screen, and you only hear it throughout the entire film, and it is something that helped make a movie that we were kind of like, this is going to be a really weird premise, into one of our favorite films of that year, and it definitely ended up on both of our year-end lists and was marvelous. My number 3, Samantha, voiced by Scarlett Johansson from the marvelous film Her, starring Joaquin Phoenix. Samantha is a true artificial intelligence. She's simply computer-based, and she can be phone-based
She's
too.
An OS? Is that what
operating
they call that?
system, a version of a Windows-like thing. It's an operating system.
Yay! I know a computer term.
That's an
Yay!
artificial intelligence. You don't see her on camera.
No?
You only hear her voice, and the voices of. We don't actually hear the one that Amy Adams' character has, but she talks about him all the time, and it's hard not to fall for Samantha because she's so sweet and very much interested in what's his character's names? I've forgotten. Theodore's life, and who he is and how he operates and how he thinks. The changes that happen over the few months that they're around, and the fact that it is an artificial intelligence means it's growing from the very beginning. And he asks it, "Why did you choose Samantha as a name?" And she simply says, "Because I liked it." Because you have a choice of male or female, whichever one you want when you buy the system. And he chose female, and Samantha was born. If you've never seen Her, it is truly one of the classics of this decade, and you should see it. And it's Scarlett Johansson. You don't have to see Scarlett Johansson to think about Scarlett Johansson.
No. Considering the fact that I think it's very fair to say we both think about Scarlett Johansson, usually in the Black Widow costume.
My number 3, Samantha from Her.
That's a terrific choice. I feel really dumb that I didn't think of that. My number 3, again, is kind of a nostalgia thing, but it's also where I was as a person when I was introduced to this character. And it's odd that two of these kind of characters that have the same thing with me wound up so high on my list, which I didn't realize till just now. My number 3 is Tim, the biotronic computer from the 1970s version of the British sci-fi series The Tomorrow People. Voiced by the late Philip Gilbert, Tim was an intelligent, self-thinking computer. It just didn't spit out data and facts and stuff.
Biotronic
computer. And he was kind. I mean, that's one of the biggest compliments I think I can give anybody, is that they're kind. And kind is not the same thing as meek, just letting you know that up front. Because Tim could have an attitude when he needed to.
And he could burn the toast, too.
It's not burnt, it's Cajun.
That term had not been invented yet at the time that show was on.
I know. Sorry to anybody out there who's Cajun. We're just kidding. Tim had the unenviable task of taking care of a bunch of teenagers who were living in an abandoned tube station in London. They are the next step of human evolution. They have powers that human beings don't, the 3 T's: telepathy, teleportation, and telekinesis. And they also realized that if they were found by the government, they would probably be captured, experimented on, possibly vivisected, but definitely...
Well, 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
But definitely never allowed to be free again. Because that's another thing, unfortunately, we as human beings tend to do. Find something unique, kill it. Tim came to me as a character in a point in my life when I was... strangely enough, living in what was at the time referred to as the average American family, 2 parents and kids, and still desperately searching for a father figure. And oddly enough, Tim fit that for me. He was wise. He was good-humored for the most part. He was fiercely protective of the people that he considered... I don't think saying that he considered them his children would be unfair or out of bounds. And he was just there for them simply because that's what he was created for. And that's what a father should be. And maybe that's why he means so much to me. I really can't say. But my number 3, Tim, from the original version of The Tomorrow People.
My number 2 is Tim. There's a certain logic in this character. First of all, Tim is an acronym. It stands for Timus Ernok Master, his original clone donor. There are 53 of them with different names running around the trig in the series continuity. You only see 2 of them, plus Tim. And Tim, I like the ceiling version much better than the floor version. When they split and actually took a year off because of striking or whatever was going on, in the mid-'70s, when they came back, they had to rebuild all the sets, and because the sets were ruined and something happened, they ruined it, warped all the original cool set, and they redesigned him so that he was in this mobile unit on the floor. And the same character, but it wasn't the same as having the cool fluids going through the tubes all over the entire lab, as they called it. And that was just cool. Philip Gilbert gave it a wonderful father-like figure, and made it very clear that he would stop at nothing to protect these kids. And we got to see that quite often. Now, they did introduce a version of Tim in the American version of The Tomorrow People that the CW had on a couple years ago. We didn't really see much of that show because, quite honestly, I can't stand Robbie Amell. And it's like...
and here we go.
I didn't... And he was way too old to be playing 16.
All right.
Stephen Jameson, the character originated by Peter Von Clark on the original show, was 13 when he started. And they were saying he was 16. Amell was 26. And he looked it. Anyway...
this is what happens when you poke the bear.
I also felt that the show was a little too violent, even by those standards. I don't think... Maybe, I mean, some people really liked it, and you can still watch it. It's on CW Seed. You can still see it online. But I wasn't impressed, even though Nicholas Young did make an appearance in it in one of the episodes, who was the star of the original show. Tim is a great character and a very influential character because I started to think about artificial intelligences in an entirely different way. Notice one name is not on this list and isn't going to be, and that's Hal. I don't like Hal. Hal is a jerk.
You're not supposed to like Hal. He's the antagonist of the movie.
I know, but Hal is supposed to be this calm, logical, computer.
Yeah, and it also goes insane.
Right.
Which is,
Which you're not going to have from Tim, because Hal's purely chips and Tim is biotronic. He has fluids and life fluids in him. He's just a cool character and means a lot to me because that show brought us together.
Yeah.
As fans first, and now we've been stuck with each other for almost a quarter century.
You silver-tongued devil, you.
Number 2, Tim from the Tomorrow People 1970s Thames television series.
Okay.
My
number 2 is a group of people that beings that you've already mentioned.
Yep. I figured they'd be higher on your list.
Am I that predictable? Yeah.
When we were briefly discussing, I'm going to cheat a couple of times because I can't separate these. And you were like, "Oh yeah, me too." I'm like, "Yeah, we're thinking of the same group." Okay.
Although now I feel really bad because I didn't put somebody on the list.
You missed Cambot, didn't you?
Yes.
You naughty girl.
I know. I feel awful now. But my number 2 is the assorted group of robots that help Joel and then later Mike keep his sanity by riffing bad movies while they're all trapped on the satellite of love. So my number 2 are Tom Servo, Crow T-Robot, and Gypsy from Mystery Science Theater 3000. I love.
You could have added Cambot, and nobody would have known.
Well, I would have.
Okay.
Catholic guilt. It's the whole Catholic guilt thing.
I know.
Anyway, I love them all for different reasons because they all definitely have their own personalities.
They do.
I think Tom is a little more cerebral. Although he does
a little more cerebral.
Although
compared to the other 3.
Well, Cambot doesn't talk, so that's
no. I'm talking about
Gypsy.
No, I'm talking about Mike and Joel.
Oh,
too.
Okay. Well,
and we both forgot. Who.
We both forgot Magic Voice. Does
Magic Voice is part of that.
Yeah, we both forgot Magic Voice. So anyway, Tom, out of the robots, I feel Tom is more cerebral, although he does tend to get his feelings hurt a lot more quickly than the other 2. Crow's a little bit more of a schemer and a scamp, but he's got a good heart, I think. And Gypsy's not seen as much, and the reason
she's too busy fantasizing about Richard Basehor.
No, she's too busy running the ship.
Oh yeah, okay, we're fine.
And that's kind of why they have her be kind of scatterbrained and kind of out there and stuff, because most of her, functions and stuff are taken up with running the ship.
Right.
Which I thought was a really great example of why she can be kind of goofy.
Yeah.
But I love all these characters. They have helped make some of the most painful movies I've ever seen. If not bearable, at least you feel like you're not suffering alone.
No, Red Zone Cuba is not bearable anyway.
So my number 2, Tom Servo, Crow T-Robot, and Gypsy from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Sorry, Cambot. Sorry, Magic Voice.
I only have one thing to say for that.
What?
I'm Peter Graves. Can you direct me to the natatorium? I'm on my way to my first swim meet here at the University of Minnesota.
It's that way.
Thank you. I'm Peter Graves, and we've got Movie Sign on A&E.
You're such a jerk.
She has seen that at least 50 times, and she still completely convulses every time it happens. And every time I do it.
You're such a jerk. Okay, anyway.
My number 1, I really was like, I got to thinking, I was sure it was going to be Tim when I first started thinking about it. But then I'm like, oh, wait a minute. No. There's one missing. One very big one missing.
Okay.
And I'm like, I need to put something special there. And again, this is kind of a grouping. There's a lead one and then there's other ones off. But it's the kind of being that becomes the heart and soul of curiosity. And it becomes, when you watch this film and you see the world and the universe through his eyes, you start to wonder just what kind of crazy thing could happen to make 2 robots fall in love. My number 1 all time is Wall-E and Eve from Wall-E, along with all the assorted Axiom-based guys like Mo, and even creepy Otto, and the robot world in Wall-E is phenomenally good. Mm-hmm. And even though we were both depressed as hell the first 20 minutes of that film, the first time we saw it,
I never had a cartoon make me want to kill myself. That was different.
It was like, oh my God! And yet by the end of it, we both loved it by the end of it, but I really gravitated toward it when I saw it later that year when the DVD came out, and I bought it, and I watched it again, and fell head over heels in love with both characters, who are tied together, oddly enough, through a song from Hello Dolly that was used in the film. Wall-E's innocence is so fun to watch. Some of the stuff when he's like doing things, just collecting things as he's doing his job, trying to pick up trash around the planet.
Yeah. With his pet cockroach.
Yeah, with his pet cockroach. Are brilliantly poignant and funny. And the first meeting he has when Eve comes to Earth to check over vegetation is hysterical. And yet it could turn quite deadly quite fast because she's a little too quick with that damn blaster at first. But the two of them and the relationship as it grows, as Wall-E tags along when she heads back to the Axiom, it's a brilliant film and contains one of my favorite all-time scenes ever, which is the bit set to Define Dancing, the wonderful score from Thomas Newman, with Wall-E and Eve dancing outside the ship as we watch the captain of the Axiom talk to artificial intelligence running the ship about Define Dancing, Define Earth, so on and so forth. It's an amazing scene, and they are just truly amazing beings. I would love to know them.
Yeah, that's
and be
great.
friends with them. My number one, Wall-E and Eve, from Pixar, my favorite all-time Pixar film, Wall-E.
I want to bring up one thing though. The whole thing with the captain learning about Earth, because this is set long after humans have departed Earth because it's become too polluted to live on. Thanks, humanity.
Sesquicentennial. I think that's 7,000 years or something like
700,
that. 700 years.
And the captain is asking the computer, define dancing. I'm like, if we ever get to a point as a species where we don't remember what dancing was, I'm going to open a vein. Anyway, moving on. My number one favorite robots, cyborgs, androids, AI, should actually probably come as absolutely no surprise to anybody who knows me, or to anybody who's listened to any of our other podcasts.
They're a team. They're
a team because you can't separate them because it just doesn't work. They belong together because they're buddies. They're some people have called...
You never know it sometimes, but they are, yes.
Well, they are. They're like the robot version of Bert and Ernie.
I think they would be more like the robot version of Abbott and Costello.
Or Laurel and Hardy. Which they've actually been called several times. Yeah. My number one are R2-D2 and C-3PO from the Star Wars universe. R2-D2 played for the most part in most of the films by the late Kenny Baker, who we lost in the shitstorm that was 2016. Sorry. And Anthony Daniels playing C-3PO since the first film way back in the 70s. There's just something so wonderful about these characters. Now, I will be the first to admit that I don't think I could last 5 minutes in a room with 3PO. Because he can be annoying.
Be annoying?
Okay.
Look at his entrance in The Force Awakens.
I know.
Okay, that's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm just remembering that and I have to laugh. I'm sorry. But the thing is, when he tells, because he does more than once, he refers to 3PO refers to R2 as his friend.
Yeah.
And he means it.
Yes, he
does.
It's
really in his voice. When 3PO sees that R2's been hurt after the attack on the Death Star in Star Wars, he's frantic. He wants to donate some of his parts to get R2 better. what's one of the greatest things that you can do for a friend but sacrifice part of yourself?
They fight, but they're friends.
They fight. Well, the thing is, everybody's always like, oh, poor R2, he always gets picked on, blah, blah, blah. You know why people say that? Because they don't know what he's saying.
Right.
My thing has always been, he is just a complete little sass box. He is totally...
With a truck driver mouth.
Yeah.
Or whatever passes for one.
Yeah. I am totally convinced...
I don't speak beep, so I don't know.
I am totally convinced, and nobody can convince me otherwise, that R2 is not lipping off to 3PO all the time when he talks to him. And, telling him that he's being a prissy little pain in the ass and stuff like that, and go soak your gears and whatever else you say.
Yeah.
And R2 is just as brave, though. Yeah. R2 is this little rolling garbage can, and he's just so... and he's cute. And people... See, that's the thing. People underestimate cute. Mm-hmm. People have always underestimated cute. How do you think I get away with half the crap I get away with?
Except for those of us who know you. We see through your cute to the dark inside.
Well, if you're smart, you'll keep your... And if you're smart, you'll keep your lips zipped. But R2 and 3PO make just such an amazing team. I mean, that's when you think team. I know when other people think team, they think the Patriots, they think the Red Sox, they think the Celtics, they think the Bruins. If you're from Boston, those are the teams you think of. Me, if you said define team, I'd say R2 and 3PO. Because I'm a nerd.
What about Kirk and Spock?
Well, yeah, but okay, yeah, Kirk and Spock. Yeah, my idea of a team would be Kirk and Spock
Michael and Kit.
R2 and 3PO and that
There's
kind of a thing.
There's all kinds of good teams.
Yeah, I know, but my favorite robots on number one on my list, R2-D2 and C-3PO.
I knew they were going to be at number one on your list. I knew it from the very beginning. Recapping my top 10. Number 10, Grovel from Danger Mouse, couple of episodes. Number 9, Commander Data, or Lieutenant Commander Data earlier in the series. He was Commander Data by season 5, I believe.
Oh, I think you're right.
Played by Brent Spiner in Star Trek Next Generation. Number 8, R2-D2. Number 7, Colossus and Guardian from Colossus, the Forbidden Project. Number 6, Maria from Metropolis. Number 5, the Satellite of Love bots from Mystery Science Theater 3000. Number 4, Baymax from Big Hero 6. Number 3, Samantha from Her. Number 2, Tim from the original Tomorrow People. And number 1, Wally and Eve from Wall-E.
Okay. And my top 10 are Robot Maria from number 10, Robot Maria from Metropolis. Number 9, BB-8 from the Star Wars universe. Number 8, the Terminator T-800 Model 101 unit from Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Number 7, Kit from Knight Rider. Number 6, Vision from the Marvel movie universe. Number 5, Lieutenant Commander Data from Star Trek The Next Generation. Number 4, Optimus Prime from the Transformers universe. Number 3, Tim from the 1970s Tomorrow People series. Number 2, Tom Servo, Crow T Robot, and Gypsy from Mystery Science Theater 3000. And number 1, R2-D2 and C-3PO from the Star Wars universe.
Yay!
I think those are some really great lists. I think that came out really well.
I do too. And lots of fun as always. And we hope that you enjoyed it. We'd love to know your list of your favorite robotic AI or Android characters. So please send it. If you send along, we'll read it on a future show at frontrow@PNRNetworks.com. I forgot Jedediah on my also list.
Right.
Jedediah was originally a robot, the original villain on the Tomorrow People. So, it's there. My pick for lists this time, and I'm going to be a real. I'm going to leave it wide open.
Okay.
All within one particular series.
Okay.
Your top 10 favorite Animaniacs segments.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. Okay.
Animaniacs is coming back to live performances this spring. Jess Harnell, Rob Paulson, Tress MacNeille are going on, and Maurice LaMarche are going on tour, doing Animaniacs shtick live in concert. They've never done this before except for one performance last year. And they better damn well come to Boston. I'm going to be so pissed if they don't come up here. And it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. And we were both so addicted to that show.
We were.
It's so funny. And so, right over the kids' heads for the adults, which is nice. Because we were both very much in our adult years when that show was on the air.
Wonderfully.
I was 30 by that point.
It's so wonderfully subversive.
Oh, God, it's hilarious.
Absolutely subversive.
The only cartoon that could possibly be more subversive is Danger Mouse in many ways, because it was just crazy, too. But Animaniacs has a special place in our hearts, and we should have no problem. I mean, it'll be fun, because there's so many different characters to choose from, so many different individual cartoons and segments, and you know, I mean, it's just gonna. I have a feeling I already know what both of our top 3 will probably be, because they're along the lines of the same stuff. But it's going to be fun, and we'll do those next week on Front Row 5 and 10. Don't forget to check out all of our rest of our programs every week. Front Row 5 and 10 moved to Thursdays a couple weeks ago, and it's Thursday evenings. We do these little list things, and we hope you will continue listening and let people know we're out here if you like the show. We have Subject Cinema on Sundays, to average 2 hours of great stuff. This coming Sunday, day and date, is our 11th annual Film Festival show. We got some really interesting stuff from Sundance, Slam Dance, Santa Barbara, and Palm Springs to talk about. Our mini shows, Tuesday Digidex on Tuesdays, with all the latest DVD, Blu-ray, and streaming releases, and 3 Minute Weekend on Friday, all the latest films hitting U.S. theaters every Friday morning. And in addition to those shows, which we do, Kim has her own show, Platinum Rose's Garden, airing Saturday evenings, usually, during the Supernatural season.
Yep. My show is looking back at the episode of Supernatural that played earlier in the week. This week I will be looking at episode 9, which is Supernatural coming back from their winter hiatus, and it's episode 9.
That's the Supernatural lingo for the hiatus, actually.
The episode is entitled First Blood, and I hope you guys will come check out my show over the weekend at PlatinumRosesGarden.com. I would like to bring up...
Is Rambo going to be a part of it?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
No, but I'm hoping for some shirtless Sam and Dean scenes.
I'm sure you are, especially since you've told me the storyline. You'll probably get it, and not in ways you like it.
No, probably not. But I would like to bring up one teensy little caveat about my show. It is not safe for work. At all.
No.
Not even a little.
And you know what?
What?
I've always liked the fact that you had your own show.
Yes.
And I don't really have my own show.
No.
Until now. Mm-hmm. I hope everybody will check it out. When February 1st comes around, Wednesday evenings, yours truly talking all about disaster films on the Catastrophe Vortex. It premieres February 1st in the evening, every week. Disaster movies, all kinds of crazy stuff, and we hope you'll enjoy it. Plus, don't forget to check out Cavebabble with Eric and Valerie Lyon every weekend with great movies, music, games, odd things to eat, and more from our friends in Holt Summit, Missouri. Wonderful little town out there near the state capital. Eric and Valerie Lyon, and we hope you'll listen. So, our top 10 Animaniacs segments or cartoons or whatever next week, I think that'll be fun.
Yeah, I do too.
Don't forget, by the way, if you want to, and if you could, to please hook up with us on our Patreon campaign. $2 a month is where it starts. We got some special perks going with the launch of Catastrophe Vortex, which I forgot to put up. I should have put them up last night. I'll have to put them up now. And there's a high thing there, you're going to get a whole bunch of extra stuff, and you can listen to, when you join, you can listen to the whole thing about what the show's going to be about. And $2 a month is the lowest level, but we appreciate any level, and we definitely could use it. We're trying to get some new equipment, and we need your help. Patreon.com/PNRNetworks.
Okay.
Alrighty then.
I think that's it. And we hope that you guys enjoyed this week's episode of Front Row 5 and 10. And we hope you'll come back next week for another new show, because we're counting on you to help us count them up.
I'm TC Kirkham.
I'm Kim Brown.
And she's Kim Brown.
And he's TC Kirkham.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye.
You've been listening to Front Row 5 and 10 with Kim Brown and TC Kirkham.
podcasting's choice. From coast to coast, continent to continent, right here 24/7.